But 90% of diets fail, and that is because they are overly restrictive. And in this video, I want to show you a better way. So the usual cycle is we go on an extreme diet, we burn out eventually because we've overly restricted ourselves. Then we binge and put on any of the weight that we've lost and maybe more. Then we feel guilty about it. And then we reset and we end up doing the same thing over and over. And this is your yo-yo dieting cycle that we need to break. So in this video, I want to talk through how we can build a more sustainable approach to dieting so you can get out of the yo-yo dieting and have something that actually fits with your lifestyle, allows you to enjoy the process of losing weight without feeling overly restrictive and going through that negative yo-yo dieting cycle. The first thing we've got to do is accept that if we are in a yo-yo dieting cycle, that we recognize that that is something that we do. So have you lost weight in a diet, stopped, and then put that weight back on again? And have you done that multiple times? Because if so, you need to recognize you're in that pattern and say, well, I can't keep doing the same thing. It's not working. I need to make a change. And it's not working during the diet, right? So you're overly restricted, you're not enjoying it. It's not working after the diet because then you're binging, you're putting the weight back on and you're feeling guilty about it. So no part of that is fun for anyone. So the first part is accepting and acknowledging that our approach isn't working, which is more difficult for some people to do than others because you get this burst of motivation. It's like, I'm going to do this. And then you set yourself these really unrealistic targets of really low calories or cutting out carbs or cutting out alcohol or not eating cake or cutting out sugar. And you find that you wake up the next day not feeling as motivated and you've set this task for yourself mentally and you feel really guilty when you then break it. So we need to find a better way, and that starts with acknowledging the fact that we are approaching it the wrong way and we need to get out of the yo-yo dieting cycle. So a quick aside to introduce myself, because I should have done that at the start, I forgot. My name is Mike, I'm the founder of Kaplar Fitness. We've helped hundreds, probably over 1,000 people will go through our body transformation program now. It's fundamentally a weight loss program and muscle building. It is not a hardcore weight loss program. It is not lose weight at all costs. What we're trying to help people to do is feel like their old selves again, find a routine that works for them, allows them to find balance while losing weight and while building muscle. They get their energy back, they're in a better mood, they're sleeping better, they're more productive, and they can sustainably lose weight. Now, we've had amazing success with our clients. I've hired an incredible world-class coaching team, and we've pulled all of that experience together to create what we think is an unbeatable process for losing weight and making it sustainable. So I'm going to be pulling from that experience today to talk you through a better approach to dieting that is breaking out of yo-yo dieting and putting a sustainable model in place. The first thing we need to think about when we're planning a new diet is that motivation comes and goes. So we need to find a way to keep disciplined even when we're on the toughest days. So I think the best thing that we do with our clients week one is make them accountable. So they have their lead coach who works with them, and the simplest thing that they do is they just send a picture of all the food and drinks that they have. They upload it in the app with the coach. And so they have an accountability buddy. And you'll be amazed how quickly people start to improve just the little things because they know that they're accountable to someone. So they start the process with us. They're super excited, ready to go. The first couple of days is easy, right? But what happens towards the end of the week when you're tired and you're stressed and work's getting on top of you, and the momentum from just joining that program and the excitement of a new thing starts to wane a little bit? Well, the accountability kicks in. The guidance of your coach kicks in. Doesn't need to be a coach. Could be a friend, could be a family member. Make a commitment to someone out loud that you're doing this thing and invite them to be part of that journey and to experience it with you and share what you're doing with them so you know that you have that layer of accountability. So when you have those low motivation days, you've still got someone that's holding you to account. So the discipline is still there even when the motivation isn't. The next thing is so important and so incredibly simple. It is by far the most effective thing that we do. And it's so simple. So I'm going to talk you through it now. So essentially on week 2 and week 3 of our program, we get our clients to do a meal planning exercise. And the purpose of this is we want them to come away with 5 options for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks that are high in protein, variety of fruit and veg that they really genuinely enjoy, and they can't take more than 10 minutes to make. If you have in the back of your mind these go-to healthy and enjoyable meals, it's going to make your weight loss journey a lot easier. So you notice so far, we've not talked about numbers, calories, macros. We're just trying to start building the habits and making it easy for ourselves to be successful. So finding different meals that we like, high in protein, that are healthy, is going to make it a lot easier because you've always got these to choose from. And the fact they take 5 to 10 minutes to prep, you can get home from work tired, whether you're stressed, you've had a tough day, you've got to feed the kids, you've got a lot of things going on. 5 or 10 minutes to make something healthy that you enjoy, that's going to make your life a lot easier. So we build this foundation of like, what's a really easy approach and what's going to make our lives easier. And then we'll start adding tracking later on. So we do that in week 2 and week 3. And week 3, we do a different meal plan to week 2, just to get some more variety in there. So you go through this exercise twice. You can come away with 5 to 10 healthy meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, high in protein, mix of fruit and veg that you really, really enjoy. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And notice there's no language of restriction here, where it's higher protein and we're allowing snacks. So it's all positive vibes at the moment. Something else that we talk to our clients about that I think is really important is environment. And what I mean by that is not putting temptations all over the place. So we're constantly having to say no because we want this more positive image. So we're saying yes to a lot of things. So instead of restricting ourselves, we're saying more protein, more water, more steps, more sleep, that positive language. But if we're constantly opening the cupboard and say, oh, I can't have the biscuits, so being mindful of not having those things in the early days while we're building momentum is to not have these temptations around. Now, what we inevitably want to get to with our clients is the fact that we have this balance. So we're not looking for perfection. So if you want to treat here and there, that's fine. It's all in moderation. But what we want to do is remove all the temptations from our path initially so that we're not going, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that. And actually we're saying, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. And we're changing that language away from restriction and into more positive habits and positive mentality. And the last part about environment is, do you have the tools to make things really easily? So for us in the kitchen, we're relatively lazy. The air fryer does a lot of heavy lifting for us because we're just lob stuff in and it's ready to go. And then things like, do you have the ingredients to make healthy food really easily? So we do a lot of simple ingredient stuff. So omelets, rice bowls, and wraps. So rice bowls being where you put a protein source, you put rice, you put whatever else you want in with some sauce. Really easy to do. You can make it in 2 minutes. Omelets, obviously, easy, eggs, whatever you want to put in. And then wraps is the same thing. You've got your wrap down, you put your protein sauce in, the carbs are taken care of by the wrap, and you add whatever veg and stuff that goes in it. Really simple ways to get high protein, but enjoy it. And they're ready in 5 minutes or under. So that's the other thing about the environment. Do you have the things around you to make your life easier on this diet? So in the spirit of getting out of the yo-yo dieting mold, we need a more flexible approach. And that means that you're not saying no to social occasions. So drinks with friends, birthdays, anniversaries, that kind of thing. You go out for a meal, you do have the drinks, and we find balance. Because we're going to be good around those events, there's no guilt associated with doing those. So we need to be flexible. And you've got to start to know yourself. So some people, it's Fridays, the end of the week, they want to have a glass of wine at home. Some people, it's in the pub on a Saturday with their friends. You've got to have those fun times. So the balance that we're looking to find is not being perfect all the time. It's, can you work towards your goals and do the things that you enjoy? And you absolutely can. You've just got to find that balance and that moderation, which is why this isn't about restricting yourselves. It's about letting yourself do the fun things so you're not fighting against yourself all the time. So flexibility can come in loads of forms. One of the easiest ways is, instead of saying, oh, I'm only going to have this exact amount of calories every day, you allow yourself to go over on Sundays, under on others, because then you can work around social events. So I want to eat more on a Friday, I want to have a takeaway, cool. I'm going to have slightly less on the other days. Going to have drinks with my friends on Saturday, cool. I'm going to have slightly less on the other days. That allows you to have days when you go over. And so think about like weekly blocks instead of daily calorie amounts to allow yourself that level of flexibility. Again, that's something we work with our clients to achieve. It takes practice and it takes time, but once you get there, everything's so much more enjoyable because there is no guilt associated with having those drinks or having that takeaway, because it's just part of the routine that you're now building, which is going away from yo-yo dieting and into this more sustainable approach. And the final part I want to talk about is shifting identity. So when you start your diet, it's all based on willpower and that initial burst of motivation, right? So you wake up and you're like, right, I'm going to seize the day. I'm going to do this diet. I'm really up for it. And as I said before, that can run out if you're restricting yourself and you're constantly fighting against what you really want. You will run out of willpower. So what you do is you use the motivation and the willpower at the beginning while you're building those habits that then become autopilot, right? So when you can do these things just without thinking, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoelaces before you leave the house, you don't even think about those things. You just get them done because they're habits. That's what we want to build with making these positive decisions. And the way to do that is shifting your identity. So imagine person A, who sees themselves as unhealthy and lazy. It's going to be very difficult for them to make healthy choices and be active, because in the back of their head, they just see themselves as lazy, as unhealthy. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now imagine person B, who thinks about themselves as healthy, as active, as into exercise. Their lifestyle is naturally going to be more healthy, more active, and we've got to move ourselves from here to here. And that happens through all these small actions that we take. So in the diet, it is eating those healthy foods more consistently than we eat the unhealthy foods. You see the benefit of that in your energy improving, in your mood improving, in your weight going down, in your body fat dropping. And then you think, okay, this is working. You do more of it. And over time, you won't realize it's happening, but your identity starts to go from this unhealthy person to this healthy person. When we get here, that's when it's on autopilot, and you don't need the motivation or willpower anymore, because now you're running on discipline and the fact that your identity, you see yourself as a healthy person, therefore you are making more healthy decisions. So to conclude, if you're looking to get out of the yo-yo dieting cycle, it is really important that you first appreciate that you're in a yo-yo dieting cycle, and you're then striving to put in place a more sustainable process. Get rid of the restrictive language. So minimum food you can eat in a day, not having carbs, not having cake, not having sugar, not having drinks. Let's start to think about positive language, more protein, more fruit and veg, more steps, more sleep, more water, more variety of food. So now we're trying to reinforce these positive things with positive thoughts. It's positive behaviors, positive thoughts, positive outcomes, and we create that loop. Make it easy for yourself by having a selection of healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinners. Make yourself test new things. High protein, fruit or veg, ready in 5 or 10 minutes, that you actually enjoy. Think about rice bowls, omelets, and wraps as a basis for really easy ways to make these meals. But experiment, try it. Come up with 5 to 10 things that you like for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and then your life will get fundamentally a lot easier on this diet. Don't restrict yourself on social occasions. Make sure that you're still going out, you're still seeing your friends, you're still having the takeaway, you're still having the glass of wine, the things you want. Don't restrict yourself too much. We're trying to find balance, but not perfection. If you find yourself having negative thoughts when you are having a takeaway, having an unhealthy meal, remind yourself that it is part of the process and part of the whole balance that you've created for yourself, so that you don't need to restart just because you've had one unhealthy meal. Unlike yo-yo dieting, where you've got to be perfect, one bad meal equals we've got to restart. What we're doing here is creating this system where it's just part of the process and you enjoy it, it's guilt-free, and you still know that you're working towards your goals, because we want to have that psychological break, right? So the time with your friends, the time with your family, the takeaway, the treat, the whatever, that's just as an important part of the process, and we've got to realize that. So that's it on my breaking out from yo-yo dieting rant. Well, I should have mentioned also, if you want to work with us one-to-one and work with one of our coaches directly, then please click the link in the description and you'll be able to apply from there. But yes, hope this has been valuable. I would love to keep coming up with content like this. So let me know in the comments what future topics you'd like to be covered, and I'll do my best to get to those.